my friend, my fellow Southerner, my golfing companion, my duet partner, William Jefferson Clinton. I did two things for Ms. Monica Lewinsky. I assisted her in trying to find employment in the private sector in New York City. I referred her for interviews at American Express and at Revlon, where I am privileged to serve as a director. I also referred her to Young and Rubicam, a New York advertising agency. Secondly, when she was served with a subpoena and at her request, I recommended a very competent Washington lawyer, Mr. Frank Carter. I actually took her to Mr. Carter's office. I introduced them, and I returned to my office.
All right, here's the answer. I happened to be in Europe then on my way to Russia. I was invited to go to Bilderberg by Vernon Jordan, a friend of mine and a genuine hero of the civil rights movement.
Senator Clinton, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you
Can I ask you a quick question while you sign that?
Sure.
It was reported in June of 2006 you attended a meeting in Ottawa, Canada, the Bilderberg Group. Can you comment on that? What's going on at the Bilderberg meeting, and what do you guys talk about up there?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. Can you comment on that? What's going on at the Bilderberg meeting, and what do you guys talk about up there?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hi, Secretary Clinton. Will you release a transcript of your paid speeches to Goldman Sachs?
In response to a subpoena from the independent counsel, I testified before the grand jury today. I answered all of their questions truthfully and completely to the best of my ability. I shall return on Thursday for more questions. As to those of you who cast doubt on my friendship with President Clinton, let me reassure you that ours is an enduring friendship based on mutual respect, trust, and admiration.
President Obama's on vacation with his family in Martha's Vineyard, and as he does often during weekends and vacations, he is playing some golf. According to the White House, his partners today, Vernon Jordan, former U.S. Trade Representative Ron Kirk, and former President Bill Clinton. Here's a look at some video of that group today.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
The same time everybody else learned it through news reports.
Round 18 of the Podesta emails, and President Obama now getting drawn deeper into this email scandal.
That's right, Shannon. This is breaking at this hour. New email from Cheryl Mills, March of 2015. The email controversy has really just exploded at that point as the campaign is beginning. And aides in the Clinton camp are telling Mills that the president has just done an interview claiming he learned about Clinton's personal email server from the news. Mills, of course, had been chief of staff at the State Department. She knew better, knew that was not completely true. So she wrote, quote, "We need to clean this up." He has emails from her. They do not say state.gov, meaning they were personal emails, and the president should have known better. Mills was reacting to this CBS interview where the president was asked specifically about the server and gave what could be interpreted as a legalistic answer by not revealing that he knew about personal email accounts. Watch.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
The same time everybody else learned it through news reports.
The Obama administration was aware of her personal email address. Top White House aides Rahm Emanuel and David Axelrod both had requested Clinton's email address back in 2009.
If I hear anybody saying their vote does not matter, that it doesn't matter who we elect, read up on your history. It matters. We've got to get people to vote. In fact, if you want to give Michelle and me a good send-off, and that was a beautiful video, but don't just watch us walk off into the sunset now, get people registered to vote. If you care about our legacy, realize everything we stand for is at stake. All the progress we've made is at stake in this election. Democracy is on the ballot. Justice is on the ballot. And there is one candidate who will advance those things. And there is another candidate whose defining principle, the central theme of his candidacy, is opposition to all that we've done.
President Obama says, as you know, he's counting on Hillary Clinton to continue his legacy of these 8 years. On the Tom Joyner Morning Show today, the president made an appeal to African-American voters who don't necessarily feel as enthusiastic as they did when they voted for him 4 and 8 years ago. Listen to what the president said.
And I know that there are a lot of people in barbershops and the beauty salons, you know, in the neighborhoods who are saying to themselves, well, you know, we love Barack, we especially love Michelle, and so, you know, it was exciting, and now we're not excited as much. And you know what? I need everybody to understand that everything we've done is dependent on me being able to pass the baton to somebody who believes in the same things I believe in. And so if you really care about my presidency and what we've accomplished, then you are going to go and vote. But if we let this thing slip, and I've got a situation where my last 2 months in office are preparing for a transition to Donald Trump, whose staff people have said that their primary agenda is to have him in the first couple of weeks sit in the Oval Office and reverse every single thing that we've done.
So, Congressman, how effective is that message to the African-American community?
It's hugely effective.
Some people, I think, are worried whether or not the decision, whether or not how to handle the case, will be made on political grounds, not legal grounds. Can you guarantee to the American people, can you direct the Justice Department to say Hillary Clinton will be treated as the evidence goes, she will not be in any way protected.
I can guarantee that. And I can guarantee that not because I give Attorney General Lynch a directive. That is institutionally how we have always operated. I do not talk to the Attorney General about pending investigations.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time. It's about time this woman is being sworn in. It's about time. All right, I want you to put your left hand in the Bible and raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Loretta Elizabeth Lynch.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend.
That I will support and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies.
Against all enemies.
Foreign and domestic.
Foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And allegiance to the same.
And allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
On which I am about to enter.
Of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Well, let's bring it back here at home here in Phoenix in a very interesting meeting on the tarmac at Sky Harbor International Airport. As ABC 15 has confirmed, former President Bill Clinton was in town and met up with U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch as she was arriving in Phoenix. Now, this meeting took place just hours before the release of the Benghazi report, so we asked her about it.
I did see President Clinton at the Phoenix airport as I was leaving, and he spoke to myself and my husband on the plane. Our conversation was a great deal about his grandchildren. It was primarily social and about our travels. He mentioned the golf he played in Phoenix.
It doesn't end there. We're told the private meeting on board her plane lasted about a half hour.
So this morning there are questions about what could have been discussed during a private meeting between former President Bill Clinton.
Mike's laughing. I mean, you can't make this up.
And Attorney General Loretta Lynch yesterday?
You can't make this up.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, it happened on Tuesday. The face-to-face claim came as the Justice Department investigates Hillary's use of a private email server as Secretary of State.
This is unbelievable. This is
the good news is it gives Rush Limbaugh material for 3 hours today. It gives him a lot to talk about.
He's not going to have to research that. There's no way you let him come on your plane
under these circumstances
and talk privately. There is no way.
No, because of the question that Mark posed a few minutes ago. We don't know what's going on with the investigation yet. That's absolutely unbelievable, literally unbelievable.
Well, and utterly unacceptable. Number one, Bill Clinton never should have approached the Attorney General. You know, he and Mrs. Clinton were a year ahead of me in law school. Maybe he was paying less attention even than I thought. But he should know in this circumstance that it's utterly inappropriate to make what's called an ex-parte contact. I think this is so deeply troubling. She should recuse herself. If she's unwilling to do that, then I'd have one other suggestion. I think she should say unequivocally that she'll be submitting her resignation at noon on the 20th of January, and she has no interest in staying on at the Department of Justice, no matter who wins the election in November.
You took a decision because you had to. Your own words just a few moments ago, that the meeting on the tarmac led you to do something. That was your exact words. It led me to do something, and that was basically recuse yourself, but didn't recuse yourself. You just said, I'm going to accept what they tell me.
It led me to discuss the decision I'd already made about how the matter would be
Had you already
handled.
had conversations with the team before you made this statement and before the meeting on the tarmac?
No, before I had a conversation with former President Clinton, I had not spoken with the team. I had concluded in my mind how it should best be resolved because I had tremendous faith in their work and their integrity.
Did you have it as
so
best
there
be
were no
resolved as far as
conversations
what they're
before that.
doing and the way it was going about, or the end outcome?
I had no conversations about the end outcome of the investigation.
Optics of this are terrible, and you today have made it worse. And as also a member of the military who just got through with my drill duty this weekend, you have basically, to me, offended every military member here who handles classified information, who does so with their training, and you've basically said, well, it depends on this. I got a question for you. Riding down the road, the speed limit says 55. I'm doing 65. Have I broke the law?
You'd have to ask the Highway Patrol.
Oh,
They
my
would
God.
likely write you a ticket. They would likely write you a ticket.
You have a reputation of having the highest integrity, utmost solid judgment. So when people heard what went down in Phoenix, a lot of people were like, I mean, friends, supporters, backers were saying, what on earth was she thinking talking to Bill Clinton? So, what on earth were you thinking? What happened?
Well, I think that's the question of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. No, what's interesting here is you say you fully expect to accept the recommendations. One thing people were saying this morning when the news broke was that you were, quote, recusing yourself from having any kind of role in the final determination. Is that the case? Is that what you're saying?
Well, a recusal would mean that I wouldn't even be briefed on what the findings were or what the actions going forward would be. And while I don't have a role in those findings, in coming up with those findings or making those recommendations as to how to go forward, I'll be briefed on it, and I will be accepting their recommendations.
Now, you've known President Clinton for a long time. He's the one who nominated you and appointed you to a U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District in 1999. So I'm wondering, you have a relationship, is what I'm trying to get to in terms of just long-standing professional relationship. So you would be well within your right to say, get off my plane. What are you doing here? Do you regret not telling the former president of the United States to leave the premises?
On June 19, 2012, Cheryl Mills, then the Chief of Staff for Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, boarded an Amtrak Acela train in Washington's Union Station, bound for New York. For the last 7 months, Senate investigators have been trying to find out what Mills was up to. And for 7 months, the U.S. Department of State has refused to answer. Now CNN has learned a potential reason why. And Secretary of State Clinton's Chief of Staff was in New York working on behalf of the Clinton Foundation. A source close to the situation confirms to CNN Mills was interviewing 2 potential candidates to lead the Clinton Foundation. Mills would interview top-level executives at Walmart and the drug company Pfizer. Both companies huge donors to the Clinton Foundation, and both have worked with the Clinton Global Initiative. Did she have permission from the U.S. Department of State? Did State even know the trip was taking place? CNN has asked the U.S. State Department all of these questions. This was the response. Federal employees are permitted to engage in outside personal activities within the scope of the federal ethics rules. A state spokesperson tells CNN all federal employees are subject to federal ethics laws and regulations, including rules pertaining to conflicts of interest. The vague response raises more questions that are just not being answered. It's easy to understand why Cheryl Mills was trusted with helping find the next director of the Clinton Foundation. Her relationships with the Clintons goes back decades.
I am honored to be here today on behalf of the President.
As Bill Clinton's deputy White House counsel, she defended the then president during impeachment proceedings. In 2008, when Hillary Clinton was running for president, Mills was her senior legal campaign advisor.
I, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
And when Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, Mills left the board of the Clinton Foundation and became Hillary Clinton's Chief of Staff. The secrecy about the New York trip, the dual roles played by trusted assistants, the mixing of business between state, Clinton Foundation, and its donors all play into a central theme of Donald Trump's campaign, that politicians, like the Clintons, use government to benefit themselves.
These are crooked people. They've been crooked from the beginning.
Greg, while you were talking, we have some interesting breaking news by way of the Associated Press, and this on the now closed investigation, FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Congressman Jason Chaffetz just telling the Associated Press that Hillary Clinton's former chief of staff, Cheryl Mills, and 2 other staff members were granted immunity in exchange for cooperating with the FBI. Apparently, Chaffetz describes this immunity as saying that Mills gave the federal investigators access to her laptop, so that she would not have any charges against her. That was the exchange.
Director Comey, why was Cheryl Mills granted immunity in the classified data investigation for Secretary Clinton?
The Department of Justice wrote a letter to Cheryl Mills's lawyer that gave her what's called active production immunity for the production of her laptop. So it's not personal immunity for her. It was the immunity was, we will not use, we the Department of Justice, directly against you anything we recover on this laptop. Fairly common tool in criminal investigations, but that's what it was. And the judgment was, the FBI judgment was, we need to get to that laptop. We need to see what it is. This investigation's been going on for a year. And this was, in the negotiation, a tool that her lawyer asked for, that the Department of Justice granted so we could get the laptop.
Trump's representatives with those, but now I have you. I don't play dodgeball, honey. I play basketball. And I'm just telling you, he tried to score on misinformation. He's trying to score.
But I have you.
On information that was obtained illegally.
You say that, Donna.
Kelly.
You say that you play straight up. But I have to ask you because you were accused of receiving a debate question before a CNN town hall where they partnered with TV One, and that you had this question on March 12th. That verbatim was provided by Roland Martin to CNN the next day. How did you get that question, Donna?
Well, Kelly, since I play straight up, and I'll play straight up with you, I did not receive any questions from CNN. Let's just be
Where'd
very
you get it?
clear.
Where did you get it?
First of all, what information are you providing to me that will allow me to see what you're talking about? Everybody
You got the
is
WikiLeaks released a March 12th Podesta email showing you messaging the Clinton campaign with the exact wording of a question asked at the March 13th CNN TV One town hall debate.
Kelly,
where did you get it?
You know, as a Christian woman, I understand persecution, but I will not sit here and be persecuted because your information is totally false. What you're telling the American people,
email.
Well, Podesta's emails were stolen. You're so interested in talking about stolen
So you deny it.
You're like a thief that want to bring into the night the things that you found that was in the gutter.
So far, Donna Brazile has insisted that she absolutely did not. But now, new evidence shows that she did. Let's give it a reality check. Well, this story has come to light thanks to the WikiLeaks email hack on Clinton campaign director John Podesta. The email in question, though, it was written by Donna Brazile, who at the time was the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, as well as a contributor to ABC News and CNN. Now, the email subject line reads, "From time to time, I get questions in advance." The body of the email goes on to say this: 19 states in the District of Columbia have banned the death penalty. 31 states, including Ohio, still have the death penalty. According to the National Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty, since 1973, 156 people have been on death row and then later set free. Since 1976, 1,414 people have been executed in the U.S. That's 11% of Americans who were sentenced to die, but later exonerated and freed. Should Ohio and the 30 other states join the current list and abolish the death penalty? Jennifer Palmieri.
Where's Jennifer? Where's Jennifer? Did Jennifer leave? Where's Jennifer? Where's Jennifer? Did Jennifer leave?
The director of communications with the Clinton campaign writes back to Brazile within 3 hours saying, "Hi, yes, it is one that she gets asked about. Not everyone likes her answer, but I can share it." Well, then, the following day at a CNN town hall between Clinton and Bernie Sanders, that question came up.
I would like to know, how can you still take your stance on the death penalty
in light of what you know right now.
So how did Donna Brazile, who wasn't even a moderator at that debate, get a hold of the question and send the exact wording for the question? Brazile says she didn't. As a longtime political activist with deep ties to our party, I supported all of our candidates for president. I often shared my thoughts with each and every campaign, and any suggestions that indicate otherwise are simply untrue. As it pertains to the CNN debates, I never had access to questions and would have never shared them with the candidates if I did. Yeah, but the plot thickens here because the question, it was referenced by Roland Martin with TV One. You see, he said that no one, not even his producers, knew what that question would be before it was asked at the town hall. But now Politico has accessed an email that shows that that's not true. Roland Martin was co-hosting that CNN town hall debate with Jake Tapper, and he did send an email to CNN producers with 3 questions, the third of which dealt with the death penalty. Politico obtained that email, and surprise, the text of the third question, see for yourself, the text is identical in wording, in spacing, and in capitalization. It is identical. But Martin's email was sent one day after Brazile's was sent to the Clinton campaign. So what you need to know is that for their part, CNN now pointing the finger at TV One and at Roland Martin, saying that Brazile sent the email to the Clinton camp a day before Martin forwarded his question to CNN. Either way, the real story here is that Donna Brazile took over the DNC from Debbie Wasserman Schultz when leaked emails showed that the DNC had been working to help the Clinton campaign beat Bernie Sanders. Brazile has insisted that she's never shown favoritism, but this email destroys that idea because it's simply not true. For Brazile to share a question with the campaign, it breaches every journalistic rule that there is.
CNN cut ties with interim DNC chairwoman Donna Brazile, who served as an on-air political analyst for CNN. It happened after hacked emails from WikiLeaks appear to show she tipped off Clinton allies about a second primary debate question.
Just came out, you see Donna Brazile was fired from the network for giving crooked Hillary the answers and the questions to a debate.
Now we are learning CNN President Jeff Zucker reportedly described Brazile's interactions as unethical and disgusting during an editorial meeting today, according to a source with knowledge of the matter.
Okay, but what about Hillary Clinton's actions? I mean, are they going to say anything there? Because Donald Trump just asked the question, how come you aren't hearing the media question why she didn't turn it in, the fact that she was receiving these questions from Donna Brazile?
I'm very optimistic. Very positive, very confident, because let's go out and in this election prove that anything is possible in America, and let's prove that love trumps hate. Thank you.